Dudes with Brews on a Porch presents to you another edition of Strange Brews. Conspiracies, murder, ghost stories, aliens. They're all coming to get you, my dears.
Craft brews and casual conversations. Happy Strange Brew Month. Drew, ya boy, hanging out with you, all alone in solitude, looking out a window, watching traffic pass by, wondering what's going to go on in life, but we never really know. I'm currently not drinking a beer. I'm going to be drinking beer, but let's talk a little beer news, shall we? 'Tis the season of Oktoberfest, an opportunity for you to dive into various festive tastes, and I'm all about it. So before we dive into the Strange Brew, we're going to break down some seasonal beers that are probably up for grabs, hopefully in your area. So Oktoberfest runs from September 20th through October 5th, I think, like traditionally. Well, we look at October and we consume all the Oktoberfest beers that we possibly can. So we're actually kind of at the end of it. Oh, well, we still are going to enjoy it all month long. I got to get to a store and buy some beers. My life has been absolutely and utterly chaotic. I don't think I've ever been any busier in my life than I am in the current time. And it's just a hot mess, my friends. It really is. So we're working on it a little bit, looking to schedule some stuff with some people. I got to get back to folks. It's been a disaster. But anyways, Oktoberfest and the world of beer. Looks like if you are in the Wisconsin kind of Midwest area, Great Lakes Brewing is going to be bringing back their Oktoberfest. It's a seasonal, and shipping has begun, so you should be able to see it. Summit Brewings in Minnesota, they are again having their Summit Oktoberfest seasonal release in bottles, cans, and draft if you want it. Pure Project Brewing, they're having a Stein release. All right, that could be fun. Pairing a special German-style beer with some limited distributions as well. Fat Squirrel. So in the world of Wisconsin, yet again, Fat Squirrel from New Glarus. It is coming on out. Slated to be available this week. And it will be in packaged form starting October 12th. So we got a little bit of time before the Fat Squirrel returns to the shelves. Fat Squirrel is delicious. Everybody loves it. And unfortunately, you have to be in the state of Wisconsin to consume the Fat Squirrel. That's it. So, either take your ass to Wisconsin or see if you can find somebody to smuggle it. Fat Squirrel is a pretty good one, I think. I think it rivals Spotted Cow. Spotted Cow gets all the glory from New Glarus because it's kind of like its icon, its identity a little bit. It's available all the time, Spotted Cow, which it is good. But I think Fat Squirrel might be even a little better, if I'm being honest. Hold on, I gotta text my wife here. Yep. Like I said, life is busy, but Fat Squirrel, it's coming. It's coming eventually. So hopefully you can dig it. If we're looking beyond the Midwest, Oktoberfest is good. Oktoberfest beers are delicious. Maybe you can enjoy a nice amber ale or red ale, whatever it may be. Sierra Nevada has Oktoberfest on their seasonal portfolio. They're all called Oktoberfest too. And in the world of IPAs, every IPA has its own unique name, own unique take on it. But all these other ones are just like, yeah, we got the Oktoberfest. That's what we got. Oktoberfest. New Glarus has their Staghorn Oktoberfest. So Fat Squirrel is not really an Oktoberfest, but it is a fall seasonal released beer. Dogfish Head has their pumpkin ale coming in as well. So that should be hitting the shelves pretty soon. Left Hand Brewing has a 2025 beer release calendar that you can kind of peek at if you want to as well. So look for the pumpkin beers right now. Look for the Oktoberfest. Look for the red ales, the amber ales. All delicious stuff, in my opinion. I love it very, very much. And you know what? I haven't indulged enough in the world of beers. I just haven't. I got a lot of bourbon, but I gotta get going on beer stuff, I gotta keep my keister in check. But we're diving into the world of Strange Brews, kind of keeping it in the world of Wisconsin because I thought this was a little interesting. I've never heard of this place, and I've been to this town before, this city, but I've never heard of the Tallman House, which is a haunted house out there. Essentially, it's fuck off, Siri. I don't need you. So this goes back to 1987, the haunting in Horicon, Wisconsin, tied to a set of cursed bunk beds. That's right. A set of cursed bunk beds. You like that? Could you imagine? You think of all these haunted items. You think of the little doll thing. It's always got like this stuff. I feel like we need to throw some dark ambience horror music. Let's see what we can pull up here as I tell the haunting tale. Oh, scary stuff. Talking about a haunted set of bunk beds. So for real, this really isn't known very well. I think it was done back in the day in an Unsolved Mystery back in 1988. So before my time, before some of your times. Goes back to the Tallman family in old Wisconsin, in old Horicon, Wisconsin, a little rinky-dink place. You blink your eyes and you've passed through it. But they bought a set of bunk beds, a used set of bunk beds. Let's face it, furniture is really fucking expensive these days, and not a lot of people always have endless money to be doing that. But they bought the bunk beds. All right, that's good. Saved some money on the used bunk beds, and the problems started after that. So they bought it for their daughters. So the Tallman family, consisting of Alan and Debbie Tallman, and they had 3 kids. Then why are they buying one bunk bed for 3 kids? Which kid gets the non-bunk bed? The favorite one, the oldest one? I bet you that caused some calamity in that household. They're probably so much arguing about, well, why do I get the bunk bed and that kid doesn't get the bunk bed? Why? Oh, because they're your favorite? And then the Tallman parents are probably like, you know what? I wish I had a haunted house right now. A haunted item to distract us from this argument. Oh, good thing we got this used bunk bed. Anyways, bunk beds were placed in the children's room. Things started happening. What things, you may ask? Well, it's rumored. Radios changing stations by themselves. Oh my God. Doors would slam. The chair would start rocking on its own. Yeah, that's all pretty like basic haunting type of stuff. That's what you expect when in a haunted house. The occasional red eyes with red-eyed figure would be seen by one of the kids. Was it the kid that didn't get the bunk bed? They saw the demonic red-eyed figure. Eventually, the voices started calling their names. People reported that there was visions of fire in their room from the kids. Well, that's good. Alan, good old Al Tallman, Papa Al, he would see a strange mist and sometimes a fire in the garage. Debbie would hear a voice say, "Come here," in an empty room. Neighbors, babysitters, and even relatives reported strange experiences while visiting. Eventually, all the family's just like, all right, we're going to forget about these family members, right? We're not going to invite them to the after party, to the dinner party, to the Christmas party anymore because they might be dragging their demon along with us. I don't know. I'm not really sure. That part's not fully accurate. But yeah, got a little crazy up in there. And then in Christmas 1987, they abandoned that house. They got rid of it. The old school abandoned house. I have gone to an abandoned house. I've seen the outside of it. I did not go inside because I knew it actually was wired with an invisible tripwire. It's got like a sensor in it. You walk into it and then the authorities are notified. I know people that got caught doing it. They got a trespassing ticket. And I was at the time, at that age, I was too poor. I was like, I can't have this on my record. I got a reputation to maintain. What is that reputation? I don't know. I was the world's biggest bozo. But I also knew I was broke. My ass wasn't going to pay no like $200 ticket. I couldn't afford that now. let alone back in the day of the abandoned house. So, but this house, yes, it was abandoned back in 1987. And that's kind of how the haunted gossip starts. People in these small towns, they got nothing else to do. So they're going to talk mad trash. They're going to talk stories, create narratives about what's going on. In 1988, the Unsolved Mystery crew filled a segment on the case with reenactments. Oh, that could be fun. And the Tallmans then destroyed the bunk beds to end the activity. So did they bring the bunk beds with them when they abandoned it, or did they go back and they go, we gotta tear this apart? Forget this stuff. So after leaving the house, they did not return. They sold the house. The new owners did not report any paranormal activity, which I guess is good. But let's keep on talking about it a little bit. What could this be? They were private people avoiding the spotlight, but neighbors confirmed something scared them badly enough to flee. Regular people. Is the scary music still playing? Spooky. A lot of fun with the objects, the possessed objects, and that is something that I would like to talk to our one guest that we have on from time to time about, if he can find some time. He's also a very busy man. I'm talking about Todd, who we've talked with before. He really knows a thing or two about that kind of stuff. Is pretty good. A lot of speculation with it. So the haunted object theory that the bunk beds carried some sort of spirit or curse. There's these entities out there that attach themselves onto some sort of object, and then whoever disturbs it, moves it, or whatever, creates a bit of a conundrum. There's a poltergeist theory along with this as well. A lot of theories attached to the Tallman house. The activity was linked to stress in the kids, not the beds themselves. The kids were little hellions. They were awful. People didn't like it. But if you're seeing are your kids got to be really awful to hear disembodied voices, objects moving. Sure. Maybe you can the window was open and a little draft came and it started moving the thing. But when you hear kids hearing voices and seeing red-eyed beings, that's kind of crazy. Mysterious figures appearing in various parts of the house. I don't know how long they lived in the house. I don't know when they bought it. Looks like 1986? Is that kind of not, that's not right. No, I guess 1986 they bought the house. 1987 they got the bunk beds. All right, this happened pretty quickly then. So they had the 3 kids, but they didn't have the bunk beds before they moved in? They bought the bunk beds after they moved in? A year later? What were they sleeping on before? I really don't know. They got it, yeah, all right. That's the real mystery, not the spirits and the poltergeists that are haunting the world of the Tallmans back in 1987. What were they sleeping on before? 3 beds? Or was there not enough space? How many bedrooms was this place? I'm gonna guess a 3-bedroom house, a 2-bedroom house. So yeah, there's a lot of questions about where these kids were sleeping. They were sleeping on the floor, weren't they? Alan Tallman. They're probably still alive, huh? The Tallmans? They gotta be. They probably don't like that I'm talking about this. I don't know. If Unsolved Mysteries makes a thing about it, then it's all right. So it was the youngest daughter would see an old woman with long dark hair standing in the room, and she had red eyes, and a sinister expression, terrifying the child. So the youngest, how old was the youngest to know that she was like, she could describe something as sinister? How educated were these kids? They got to be pretty educated if they can say that type of stuff. I don't know, but they were powerless against this kind of situation. So I guess it came to the final straw, January 1988, when the haunting reached a fever pitch. Alan Tallman was awakened by the sound of chanting and saw the bunk bed engulfed in flames. So the fire didn't act like it normally would. There was no heat, and they tried to put it out, but the flames vanished as quickly as they appeared. So they're just like, we got to head out of Dodge. Is that where that came from? Is Horicon in Dodge County? I don't know. Get out of Dodge. Maybe that's what it came from. So some people think it was haunted objects. Some people claim it was some sort of poltergeist. I guess, the all that stuff happened relatively quickly after they moved in. A year or so. Sometimes it takes some time for the poltergeists to ruffle their feathers a little bit and be like, you know what? I'm going to make myself known. I'm going to start terrorizing these people. I'm going to start doing these things. So it was really more and it was the stress of the kids. The kids were bringing on the stress, which is activating the poltergeist, I guess, and not the bunk beds itself. I really have no information on this kind of behavior, on this type of stuff. It did create some hysteria in the small town. The rumors magnified. They couldn't go to their local Five and Dime or the diner and sit down and go, give me a plate of pancakes and do not talk to me about the Tallmans. That didn't happen because, like I said, Horicon, Wisconsin, there ain't nothing to do. Nothing to do at all. Some people are saying it's the occult. That the beds had a dark past, possibly linked to a death or a ritual. But nothing would prove that. When you go to these secondhand stores, thrifting is all the rage as of late. And I guess it has been, ever since that Macklemore song. They never talk about popping tags and bringing a poltergeist home for the low cost of $350. I think they have to address that from time to time. Object may or may not be haunted. Hasn't been sitting around in this goodwill long enough for us to experience any unusual phenomena or behaviors. Purchase at your own risk. Somebody would still buy it with the hopes that it was haunted, I suppose. Maybe, you put another disclaimer. All right, buy this used bunk bed frame. It occasionally was used in a spiritual ritual. Big deal. We're giving you it for $50. 2 of your kids can sleep on this thing. Creates more space in the bedroom. You're welcome. Yeah, you might hear a creak in the floor every once in a while, and maybe you might hear the desperate cry of a dying goat being sacrificed in the middle of your living room. What do you want? You want your kids sleeping on a plank of wood? No, didn't think so. Your cheap ass is going to buy this. You're going to put it in the house and you're going to deal with the consequences. We're warning you. Proceed with caution. That'd be a really aggressive thrift store. For the most part, I think they're just like, oh, look at this luxurious, refurbished, oak-built bunk beds. We'll throw in a mattress for you, too. The mattress might have stains on it, but you can put a cover over it. It'll be fine. The occult. Yeah, back in the day, so when we think about like the 1980s, this is kind of like the peak paranormal pop culture boom in the world of like satanic panic. Poltergeist was a popular movie. So did this amplify it? Maybe none of this really actually happened. Has anyone reached out to the Tallmans? I got to try to see, like, where did they move to? Where are they now? Because we could probably get a hold of it, see what's going on. But they even reached out to a point, but I guess, you talk about this and you live in a small town. The Tallmans reached out to their pastor at some point to ask for help. The pastor conducted a blessing on the house, but it just continued. So one that proves that, that religious stuff ain't real. or or he didn't do it well enough, or the people are all, it's just part of the fabrication of the story. Maybe the Tallmans were just a bunch of weirdos, and then one day they just hightailed it out there after like a year and a half of living there. You never know what somebody's going through. But I mean, once a media crew, once a television production catches wind of it and throws a freaking episode on the television about it, of course it's gonna, but I guess the interviews were on there with the Tallman family. So I gotta look into this. I wonder if they do the show. Wouldn't that be crazy? That'd be pretty sweet if I do say so myself. A lot of people are skeptical out there, which rightfully so. When you live anywhere, if you live next door to the place and they're like, oh yeah, that place is haunted, you don't want that. Does that lower the property value? Did it lower the property taxes in the coming years? If that's the case, then I'd be like, well, thank you, Tallman, for bringing all this attention to the neighborhood and lowering the value, because, I didn't get a raise this year. They didn't raise my cost of living. So now I got to pay lower taxes. That's kind of ideal. That's nice. But yeah, they've remained out of the public eye since. The story has popped up from time to time, even on shitty podcasts like this one that you're listening to. And then it just really brings forward the cursed object type of take. That's more so what everyone seems to think in the world of this. So like I said before, in the world of haunted objects, that's a pretty known thing. And I would like to get some insight on it from someone who's a little more expert in the field. The Annabelle doll, Robert the doll, which we've talked about, that's being cursed. People write apology letters to Robert the doll. And then there's the Diebuck box. Don't really know what that is. But yeah, those are all preserved haunted objects. The bunk bed was taken away, was destroyed. So, what do I think? I don't know. I would like to say I've been a pretty freaking stressed out individual in my life. I'm happy to say now I'm doing okay. I'm endlessly busy, but it's good stress and it's manageable stress that I can deal with. I've been very stressed in my life. I've been borderline. I've been depressed. I've been in dark areas, and I will say nothing has driven me to the point of hallucinations. So the stress of the kids and that kind of take on it, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, but I don't know. I guess I'm not. That's not me. That's not how I handle things. And I've never experienced that hallucinations. I've never really experienced any sort of hallucination. I also tend to not buy used furniture. I know that might say something about me, but I tend to buy new stuff. One, because it's my question is, especially in the world of beds, it's you don't know who's been on that. You don't know what's going on. No, thank you. I'm gonna buy used. And I did buy a used box spring one time. And that served a purpose. That was nice. So I guess I'll never say never, but usually, yeah, I'm buying that. So I don't really have to worry about any demons, holding themselves in the chair love seat that I'm picking up. And if I bought something and weird shit started happening afterwards, I'd burn it. I'd burn that son of a gun and be like, all right, this clearly, it was on clearance for a reason, I guess. Though I buy new, I'm buying clearance. I'll tell you that. Yeah, maybe it was cursed. Maybe it wasn't. I really don't know. It's a cool story. It's a fun story. And you can definitely watch that episode. I look at the picture. I wonder if I could find it on Google Earth. What was the address of this place to see if it's there and who lives there. So it was on. All right, I got the address right here. Let's do some real-time investigation, shall we? Go to the old Google. We answer it on here. Oh yeah, I guess that is how I meant it. I misspelled it. Whoopsies. Affordable apartments. What? They turn them into apartments? I don't really know. I got no like they got no like current stuff on it. Interesting. Very, very interesting. The old woman coming into the door that the kid saw. Ugly, red eyes, long black hair. Huh. Here's another one. Here's another little bit of information. One night, Alan woke up to fog swirling around his room and heard a voice say, clear as day, "You're dead." Well, that'd be terrifying. That would be scary. How come this isn't on Google Earth? Why is this not? Oh, they got the picture. They got the Tallman House. Like, what the hell happened to this place? Is it gone? All right, we're going to Google Earth. We're going straight to the source. Earth. Google Earth. And I want to look at this. Look at this place to see if it's still around. Because it had nothing but old pictures on there. And you could tell it was a house from like the 60s and the 70s because it's very ugly on the outside. Hopefully, if it still exists, that somebody out there is still... Bro, I think it's gone. That's... Huh. Interesting indeed. There's no... There's nothing. It ain't there anymore. Let's see. Is it gone? Yeah, this is the real exciting part where I log into things that I should have had, more information on before I recorded this, but that's just how this kind of goes. So it was sold in 1988 to a new family. No unusual activity has been reported from later occupants. A recent blog tried to track it down and it says it's says the author drove by a likely candidate house on the same street matching the original style, but there's no record of demolition or removal at all. But nothing comes up when you... That's interesting because if I type my address onto Google Earth, it shows my house. But if you type in that one, it doesn't. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Strange, you could say. Oh, God. Cue that ambient music. Where the fuck is this house on Google Earth? That's the real mystery. And that wraps it up for the first week of Strange Brew on Dudes with Brews on the Porch. I swear to you, I promise to you, I will do my best to get... we'll get Rob back on here. We'll find a time where we can do some talking, do some learning, do some stuff. Gonna throw in some bonus episodes as well. This week got some interviews lined up with people. We're gonna talk some music. I'm pretty pumped about that. And yeah, we'll talk about more spooky stuff. So enjoy. Make sure you're getting on out to the places that serve the delicious tasting beer for you to indulge in. And yeah, good stuff. I love you. Go to linktr.ee/dudes with brews. Pick yourself up a Strange Brew t-shirt. That's really, really cool. We love it. Yeah, thank you for sticking around. Thank you for listening to us. Thank you for doing all the stuff. It's a small group of you, but we love you. And it's a powerful group indeed. So we appreciate it. And we will hopefully bring you some interesting stuff very, very soon. So keep it real, homies. We'll see you soon.
Pew, pew, audio. Goodbye, everyone.